Sarah Benwell, the editor of fundoperator.com, and I'm here with Sohel Hussain, Director of Investment Operations, Meyer Memorial Trust. Sohel is speaking at the Fund Operations Summit North America on May 18th, and ahead of that, we just wanted to catch up with him to get a little bit of a flavor of what he's going to talk about. Hi, Sohel.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for joining me.
Great, thank you.
My first question for you is, in what way have institutional investors lagged in the modernization of their operations?
Yeah, so I can speak specifically in regards to the endowment and foundation space that we've lagged in a number of areas. One is process and workflow automation, especially in regards to data and document retention and aggregation, where processes such as manual data entry into Excel spreadsheets and manual downloading and filing of documents still exists. There's plenty of avenues internally or externally that can substantially increase accuracy, reduce workloads on human capital, and improve overall productivity. Second is having more capable portfolio management, portfolio analytics, and risk management tools that will allow investors to better manage their portfolios, enhance cash management, and make more informed decisions to optimize returns.
That makes sense. And what do you think are causing some of these delays in modernization, and what are some of the big barriers?
I think there's many reasons that you can point to. One is that, quite frankly, we're in a predominantly liability-driven business, whereas in most businesses, revenues are the main drivers, right? And so the fallout is kind of the sleepy mentality where complacency, quite frankly, exists and has resulted in a lack of innovation and change. I think the lack of sourcing talent is also a problem, high-end talent for sure, and which would definitely help drive more change and likely returns, to be quite honest. And whether it's human capital or just investing in resources such as technology, there's this overall aversion to further expenditures on any enhancements for investment teams. And the primary mistake that both executive management and boards make is conflating costs for investment teams as a cost center, similar to other parts of the organization, but it's not, right? In many organizations such as Meyer, where we're a private foundation and don't take any outside money, we're the only source of revenue, growth, and cash inflow for the organization. And even if we're talking about these resources helping squeeze out just an extra 50 to 75 basis points of performance, that's still pretty significant in absolute dollar terms. And lastly, especially in regards to automation and streamlining of workflows, many of these investments and resources will save money in both the short term and long term. So changing that outdated mentality amongst decision makers is a key barrier. And once that mentality changes, I think you'll start to see more productive change.
And when we think about sort of some of these lags and these delays in modernization, what impact do they have on the institutional investors, and why should people be thinking about, investing in modernization and improving their operations and infrastructure?
So I think it's put a lot of us behind the eight ball. With portfolios adding in more complex liquid asset classes such as private equity, venture capital, real estate, private distressed credit, hedge funds. You can't utilize the same resources that you used when you had a 60-40 simplified portfolio 20 years ago. And you're starting to see that become a huge pain point for many asset allocators now as they're trying to just stay afloat, managing the different workflows, data sources, risk management, risk performance metrics, I mean, you name it, right? It's also caused a misallocation of resources on human capital that's being used towards jobs that, quite frankly, don't even exist anymore in most industries, in lieu of allocating resources that can help support the investment team to help drive returns. And as an investor, you want your business to be scalable, malleable to the changes that are continuing to occur in the industry, and you have to invest in the modernization of operations and infrastructure. Otherwise, you're going to continue to compound on a problem that is not going away and could become a problem that is insurmountable and will negatively affect returns, which is not what anyone wants.
No, of course. So then taking that all together, okay, so what steps can the fund operators take to actually, break down some of those barriers and start on that journey?
Yeah, so I think first doing a thorough evaluation of your investment practice and during this discovery process, figure out what are your needs, your wants, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and have an honest conversation with the team about it and what changes to the practice would be beneficial. Definitely utilize your peers and contacts in industry as a resource if you're trying to source additional information. This was a huge benefit to me during my discovery process here at Meyer. And once you have all the information that you need, develop a business plan that you think will be beneficial to your business in the long term to present to relevant stakeholders. I think if you can convince these stakeholders and decision makers that these investments will be beneficial in the long term and will reduce costs as well, while also enhancing returns, I just think it's hard to say no at that point, right? But you need to make a valid case for that in order to get buy-in.
Lovely, that makes perfect sense. And then, obviously you're going to be coming to our conference and speaking about this and lots of related topics. What do you see as the benefits of that conference, and why should fund management representatives consider coming along?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, networking and talking to peers has been one of the most resourceful and important tools I've had in better understanding the needs and challenges in the industry, and also some of the solutions to these problems as well. And the more that we as a community and industry collaborate to find solutions to problems and also demand solutions to problems internally and externally, I think the better off we'll all be.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, I can't wait to see you there and hear more from you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, and likewise, I'm excited to come. Thank you.